I'm interested in the development of a network of people to build a distributed society. Let me explain what I mean. I think that we are on the cusp of a great transformation. The engine of the 20th century, the mechanistic society, is showing signs of decline and decay, and in some cases injustice. But there is an opportunity, I think, to create a new world, and it's based on fundamental shifts in the way we think about energy, from fossil fuels to renewables, and in communications, from telephony and film to social networking. These two forces of energy and communications will reframe the shape and form of everything that you and I understand. And the question is, do we allow this to happen in a chaotic way, or do we design it in a more careful way? My view is we have to do it in the latter way, because some of the issues that we face need to be sorted out sooner rather than later. And I think when we look at this distributed society, there are 8 things that are important. And I'd like to go through each one of these with you if I could. The first of these features of this new society is that we need to build networks of people and businesses and communities that understand what it is that we're talking about here. They have a belief that in fact there is a better way than the way that we're doing things right now. The second thing we need to do is we need to build a lot more diversity into our communities. One of the things that happened in the 20th century is that some things got larger and larger and larger, and in the process they squeezed out all the other options. We don't know what's going to work in this future, but one of the things I do know is that it's very dangerous to rely on very old models for doing things. The third thing that's important here is we need to create new stories. You and I make sense of our past and our future through stories. And I would like to see us build a network of people who are focused on building these stories for the future. But there's a practical side as well. One of the things that is occurring as we look at this future is that the business models, the way that we release value, these models are dramatically changing. And if we get it right, we can use far fewer resources to create much higher value. So one strand of this future is a whole new suite of business models that are so powerful that they make the old models redundant. Number 5 in my 8 principles, in fact, is that we make sure from now on we design things from the customer backwards. By the way, the mobile technologies demand that we do so. In the process, we will be shifting from the supply side models of the 20th century to the customer flow side models of the 21st century. And that will require a lot of rethinking. One of the things that occurs as a result of this is we need to shift our focus when we think about design. We need to go beyond business as usual conversation and look at things in a much more systemic way. So a distributed society is a total change in the way you think about the system, but it goes further than that. It's a different culture, it's a different ethos, it's a different way of thinking about the world. It's about seeing that in fact our world can be better than just relying on resource-based growth. What's more, it will be reliant on these new stories that I talked about. And to get there, we need to create new pathways. What will these new pathways look like? And how can we explain them in ways that make sense to people? Because a lot of people can understand the idea, but if they can't see a pathway, then they find it hard to act. For government, it will be about a pathway that helps them frame the kind of futures that I'm talking about in a way that respects identity. For business, It will be pathways that deliver significantly higher value without having to chase more resources every time to get there. And for communities, it will be about creating new connection rather than the kind of siloed, soulless sorts of worlds that we've created. And number 8 is to find and demonstrate those projects that show people that this not only can be done, but is being done. And these are what I call acupuncture projects. These are small projects that have got great effect if people can understand them. And they will, of course, be rapidly developed and adopted by those who understand it. So in general terms, that's the proposition. What I want to do now is to, in fact, adopt principle number 1 and build a network of people who actually believe that we need to shift from that 20th century model to that 21st century model. Because I'm not sure that there is any kind of interesting future if we simply continue in smart business as usual. I'd welcome a contact from you. Thanks.